Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today for the first adventure, the maiden voyage in the SLS AMG Black Series. Today I'm going to be heading all the way over to Germany. Now of course these are strange circumstances, we're going to have some border crossings ahead of us, but later today this car will be on the German Autobahn to have a little bit of fun, hear how it sounds and see how it goes. So we've loaded it all up, we've got about 500 miles ahead, we're expecting this to take 10, 11, maybe even 12 hours to get over to our place in Frankfurt where we need to sort some things out. But in any case, I cannot wait to get the SLS over to Germany. By choosing to take the newest arrival in my garage, it does mean that I'm going to be leaving the other Shmeemobiles for the time being. Now we do have a new light bulb that's just been fitted overhead, so the Mystic Blue can now shine out here in the garage, amusingly on the very day that I'm leaving. But just in advance, I have prepared all of the other cars to make sure that they're okay for the longest period possible. So here in the garage we have the Supra, the Red RS and the Heritage RS, and then over at the storage, all of the others, the Senna, the Ford GT, the Aston GT8, GTC4 Lusso, G63 and GTR Pro, which are all now plugged into trickle chargers, sitting on tyre cushions, undercovers, etc. Maybe they'll be shipped out at some point, we'll see what's going to happen. But also over in Germany, waiting to be collected is the new Bmw M8 competition. I cannot wait to get that eventually. It was built a couple of months ago, just had to wait until I could come over. Now the SLS AMG is of course a car that was introduced to be a Grand Tourer in the first place. The Black Series is the significantly more hardcore version, but I think it should still make quite a good Grand Tourer as it goes. And of course later on the Autobahns, the 6.2 V8 is going to roar and rumble away. Now talking about Grand Touring, let me come around just to show you the amount of luggage that we've managed to squeeze in. It's actually more practical than I expected. I thought we were going to have some problems, so pop open the boot and come back here. We've loaded it up already, but you can see back here we've managed to squeeze in some cases, some other soft bags and things as well, all quite convenient really, without having to have too much inside the cabin. Just open up the gull-wing door, we've got one or two little bags inside, but not too much by way of visibility being impaired. Now I'm very much looking forward to getting this car out on the roads. It is what I bought it for, just the circumstances are not what we expected. Of course, with border crossings at the moment, you cannot travel purely for the purposes of going on holiday or being a tourist. We're actually heading to our home where we're moving homes, so we do need to be there legally in person to get it all sorted out, which is why we've got the authorizations to actually get there in the first place. But it is going to be an interesting voyage in any case, and I will share exactly how it goes as we make our way over, and then later on see what this is like when the foot goes down hard and we get to accelerate on the Autobahns. So let's hop on board then, get the car started up and crack on. I know that I've talked about this a few times now, but in a narrow gap, the SLS gull-wing doors are actually fantastic because they open so easily. Normally that would be a bit of a squeeze to climb in, but in this it's pretty easy. Anyway, it is a case of now bringing it into life, getting this car ready. So let's start it up. Cold start here in the garage, always fantastic. Enjoy this. Perfect. All right then, let us take this one out of the garage and start the drive. The curious thing about this is we are now driving into the London Congestion charge zone, which for a very long time has been Monday to Friday 7 to 6 as that says, but given everything that's going on and TfL's current position, they are now extending it to be 7 days a week and run all the way until 10 PM. So the next time I am back in London, I'll have to pay the congestion charge every time I want to drive here as opposed to coming in the evenings and weekends, which is a strange one, so I will not really have a car back in central London very often. Anyway, our route out of London takes us through the very quiet city streets, a bit of a meander through the city. There's no really easy way to do this journey, and then we will get on the English motorways down towards Folkestone to catch the Eurotunnel, which I believe is running quite an infrequent schedule, so it's probably going to be a long wait before we can board a train, get through. I've still got a Flexi Plus, so we'll see how that works as well, and make the way on through France, Belgium and into Germany. As we make our way out of London, which is very quiet, up in front of us we have the walkie-talkie, and over to the right we have the Shard on the south side of the Thames, now disappearing behind the construction. But yes, past the lovely buildings of London. It's going to be strange not being back here for a bit, but onwards. The beauty of a little tourist run out of London then. We've got Tower Bridge and the Tower of London as well. London is always a stunning city. After a pretty uneventful journey, we are arriving then at the Eurotunnel, the Channel Tunnel. We're going to be taking, hopefully, the first train. Now, we do have a pre-booked train in literally 2 hours, so I don't think I've often been quite this early. We'll find out exactly how it works when we get up to the ticket barriers, get allocated a crossing, and I guess it's going to be a learning experience for all of us at the moment. Let's find out then when our crossing is going to be, and conveniently, there is a barrier, or rather a computer, on both sides so I'm going to be able to make this work. Unsurprisingly, it is not very busy here, but it is rather windy and the rain is blowing sideways, hence why I'm still wearing my sunglasses. But we've just gone through the border and passport controls, shown our documents, we're allowed to travel through, so we're going to be crossing very shortly. The Flexi Plus lounge is currently closed, so not exactly much to do, just go straight through, get on the train and get over to France. The good news is we are heading for a train probably about an hour earlier than the one we were going to be getting, so we are going to go straight on in, which is super convenient. Inside the train today, you can't get out of the cars. Normally you can get out if you need to go to the toilet or something. You have to stay in with the new guidance, but it is that easy. And we will now cruise on through, and in about, well, I guess by the time it departs, 35 minutes after that, we will be driving into France. We're about to get off the car then. The nav is set to take us to Germany. Bring this into life. Obviously I need to put everything into kilometers, and the main dashboard is in kilometers per hour because of course it was an original German car. It has a digital readout in miles. You can change that via the system in here, I believe, which is, well, was launched with the SLS when it came out in 2010. This is a 10-year-old system now. We're heading out, so maybe we'll deal with that when we get out proper, but into the sunshine here in France, which is lovely. Thank you to the team working here through all of this. So, in the French sunshine, let's head on and make our way through. In the meantime, I'll figure out how to get all of this set to the right modes. Welcome to France! Okay, this is a weird feeling, like I've said a few times, travelling during everything that's going on, but I hope the journey is going to go effortlessly. We'll have a border to Belgium in about half an hour, 40 minutes, and we'll see what happens. As you can see then, we are now approaching the border to Belgium, 800 metres to the border, and I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be a checkpoint or how it's going to work exactly in Belgium. For France, it was all predefined online, so you knew exactly before you got there what was going to come up. Here, I'm just going cautiously to kind of see, but it looks like we just basically drive through, which isn't really what I expected. Look, this is the border. This is where we cross into Belgium. Obviously, they do spot checks. They will pull you over if you're not travelling legitimately, but across we go, and we're now in Belgium, where basically we stick on cruise control and take it easy for probably a journey through Belgium without traffic, I think. Then we'll take the E40 down to Aachen, across the A4, down the A3, and life should be pretty smooth sailing to get to the Autobahns, I would think. We're driving now the last kilometre or two before we get into Germany. Some observations about the SLS, by the way. It drives dead arrow straight. You do need to be assertive with the brake pedal though. If you need to get on the brakes, there's not that much feel in the first bit of travel before you're on them, but a pretty gentle cruise, other than being really noisy on some of the tarmac that we've had. For driving in Germany though, I'm going to press the AMG button here, which brings up this performance data display, because, well, quite frankly, it's cool, and I'm going to go into the power view with the press of that, so you can see exactly what is going on. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to have de-restricted Autobahn immediately, or if we need to get further into Germany. We will see what happens. We're just coming up now, roughly speaking, to the border. We've got the customs. I think there's just a straight drive over. I do want to emphasise again though that of course you need a reason that is valid and justified within the regulations. You can't just travel for the fun of it. We are coming up now then to the border into Germany. So yeah, there we go. I can see the sign down on the right, and that will be the point at which the road becomes de-restricted. So we can go into the manual on the gearbox. Just here, past the sign. Drop some gears. I'm going to wait just a moment. And accelerate. Oh yes, this car sounds insane. Oh, that's his first time going about 200 kilometers an hour. Even in 7th gear, the torque is just effortless. Absolutely effortless. Up to about 240, 250. Yeah, I mean that's 250 kilometers an hour. Let's slow it down already. Mega. I love this car, and I cannot wait to get it as well onto the Nürburgring. Those downshifts are so angry. this stage, by the way, in advance of bringing the car to the Autobahn, we have brand new Michelin Sport Cup 2 rubber. I say brand new, obviously it's done about 500 miles getting here. We've also made sure that they are inflated properly if we're going to drive at high speed. Tyres need to be properly inflated, so that was done in advance as well. Completely the opposite of when you're on track, you need to make sure they are softer. This car just gets a massive thumbs up, it's epic. There are two things about driving on the Autobahn. The first is that it is now completely out of fuel. It drains substantially quicker. Conveniently though, we do have a fuel station right here. The other thing is that the front windscreen is completely covered in bugs. I'm going to have to clean that off as well. Yes, downside of a nice afternoon. Hey, at least the weather cleared up. It is a wonderful time to be out for a drive, and this car is an absolute monster, albeit very, very firm when you go over bumps. Anyway, it's my nav recalculating. We will pull into one of these, give the car a nice full tank of V-Power 100, and then get back on the road. A full tank of fuel later, I've popped round the corner. I need to get used to some of the things out here, like wearing a mask when you go into shops, that kind of stuff. I do have one though, fortunately, but the car is looking lovely. I haven't seen too much of it in the very bright sunshine, but this colour is awesome, and especially the silver wheels. As I've said before, contentious point, changing them to silver, but works very well for me. The only thing is that this is going to need a good clean up. We have been splatting some bugs along the way, windscreen especially, although you can't quite see it at the moment, but enjoying the car every bit as intended. As something quite noisy just went up the hill over in the background. But this thing, the SLS Black Series, I mean, it's been my dream car for a reason, right? It's astonishingly good fun to drive. Just sounds like a grumbly monster. That engine is an explosion going on right in front of you, front mid-engine, all the power going to the back wheels, of course, so much of it. It's amazing. Anyway, this is just the early stage. We've got a bit more still to go before we get back to the garage in Frankfurt, where of course I have not been for quite a few months, which is an odd thing in its own right. So let's hop back in and continue. It's actually been a pretty efficient journey overall, not that busy as you would kind of expect, and we've made some good time obviously with a decent pace down the Autobahn, so not too far to go now, about 20 kilometres into the city. I'm actually quite excited now to be back. Well, we seem to have found our way towards a McDonald's. It has been a long time since I last came anywhere near a McDonald's. In fact, about 3 months ago. Because in the UK they are not open, and I'm very worried about where these curbs are, but I think I've got it. If I curb my lovely new wheels, that would be a disaster. So, drive through. And yes, we have taken the car through this drive-through. Hello. Okay, this is not going to be easy. Small window, and now I have to work out where to put these. Okay. Camera person duties. Thank you. Perfect. Dankeschön. Cheers. And look at this. Look at this. This is narrow. Okay. When in doubt in an SLS, this is what you've got to do. When you can't work this out, you just have to sit out. Oh, yes, I just banged my head on the A-pillar. Sit out here, into gear, and guide it carefully. Carefully, 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 watching the doors. Right, success. The only car, other than a 300 SL Gullwing from the 50s, that can do that. It feels good to be back. It's been a long time since I was last here in the garage in Frankfurt, but now back with another of the Schmeemobiles. And in fact, over time, quite a few of them have now been out here. From moving out 3 years ago with my blue Focus RS, the Red RS and the Heritage RS have both also been. The 911 GT3 lived here, as did the BMW M5. The AMG GTR spent a lot of time here. I think I had the FF here. The GTC Forlusso has certainly been here quite a bit, including a few months ago. In fact, that was the last time I was here, was when I drove that home. The 675 LT Spider, and now the SLS Black Series, and I'm sure I've missed something along the way. We've just unloaded the car and taken everything upstairs, where fortunately all is well, given we've been away for quite a while. But this car has handled today's drive magnificently. Going door to door in one hit, it's about 500 miles, 750 kilometers to go from London over to Frankfurt. It's been quite a smooth journey from getting an early Eurotunnel to not having any problems at the border crossings, and in total it's taken just under 10 hours, including a cheeky McDonald stop as well, which isn't too bad. Now this car is a beast. The SLS AMG is already a fantastic Grand Tourer. This just dials things up a bit. It's even more dynamic, it's even more angry and aggressive and raw, and we've been able to experience that engine today on a couple of open stretches on the German Autobahn, up to 300 kilometers per hour, making the most ferocious sound while it does it. This car looks awesome, it's very comfortable. The bucket seats, I'm actually a big fan of those. The same ones as found in the AMG GTR, super comfortable for a long distance drive. It certainly drank through fuel though, when putting the foot down. The economy kind of fell to pieces when I started enjoying the loud pedal a little bit more. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that to come with this on the Autobahns, plus over at the Nürburgring as well. For the time being though, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty tired after such a long drive, but fantastic to get back on the roads, even if, like I've said a few times, it's in these unusual circumstances. Like I've said, it's compulsory that we could get here so that we could go and sort a few things out. We've been travelling in line with the regulations and guidelines through each of the countries we've gone to visit, transiting through countries and entering here into Germany as well. It's mega. What an epic car, and I hope you've enjoyed this journey of a video, an unusual out of the blue road trip I suppose, but thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support as always, and I'll hopefully see you for some more fun with this very, very soon. Cheers!